Hi, this is Hoder Bino from DevilsDigest.com. I'm here with staff writer Jordan Kay, reporting from Husky Stadium, where Arizona State drops their Pac-12 opener to Washington here in Seattle, 27-20, going 0-1 in Pac-12 play. And Jordan, even though the score was only a one-touchdown difference, it really didn't feel like a close game, at least for most of the contest.
No, and I think that was because it seemed like every time that Washington needed a third down, every time ASU needed to get off the field, they couldn't. Washington kept converting, and it wasn't like dumb conversions where they're just kind of throwing some passes that were highly contested. It was passes where no one was in the vicinity, and those were just blown coverages. And I guess that's supposed to happen when you have three freshmen that you're starting, but after the game, Danny Gonzalez was not making any excuses. He wasn't trying to give too much credit to Jake Browning. He was saying it was all assignment errors, all things that ASU could have prevented going forward. And I think that's what stings the most for them, is that they had this game and they were so close, but it's that you're beating yourself up and it's not them beating you. And I think that's kind of what ASU is taking from this game.
And I think there's some positive to take from this game. Arizona State found its running game again, 164 yards rushing. You know, Benjamin goes over 100 yards. Even though Washington coming in this game was not one of the better rushing defenses in the league by any stretch. On the other hand, they only gave up 10 points a game. Arizona State scored 20. And they gave up 170 yards passing per game, and Arizona State passed, I believe, just for 104 yards, or something like that. And let's talk a little about the offense, Jordan. We saw the Washington safeties, I mean, probably the most talented group in the conference, dropping 15, 20 yards deep almost each and every snap. And sure, it helped your running game, but I think the other side of the coin here is that Arizona State really, I'm not going to say gave up on the passing game, but probably went to that well called the running game just a little too much, and really wasn't able to find a passing game that really would combat the coverages they saw all night long.
Yeah, so this kind of reminded me of the Michigan State game, and after it, Rob Likens was talking about how it took them so long to get that deep shot, which was the N'Keal Harry touchdown and the Kyle Williams catch. It took them so long, and he kind of joked like, I hope it never takes us that long again. And tonight, well, they're still waiting on that deep pass. It hasn't come, and I think that's what's the most frustrating part. Not that they didn't get one, they never even went for it, and your running game is going to be going, but it wasn't like they could even get the 15-yard slant or throw it to N'Keal over the middle or even give N'Keal a screen pass that he can break. It was nothing like that. They weren't giving the offense opportunities to make plays, and even if the secondary for Washington, which is very good and will probably have multiple draft picks come out of it, even if they're playing 20, 25 yards off the ball, you can still throw a 20-yard pass or a 15-yard pass and hopefully get some yards after contact, especially with how good and shifty some of these Arizona State wide receivers are. And I think that's going to be the thing that a lot of fans are kind of angry about, is that there were no deep shots taken and there was no real threat from ASU's offense to go deep. And sure, you can pick up 4, 5, 6 yard runs all you want, but until you can start moving the ball like that, and you look at it, Washington, that's how they got out of these third down spots. That's how they kept moving the ball down the field and getting touchdowns instead of settling for field goals. And that's what ASU's offense is got to be kind of kicking the can about tonight.
And we talk about the Arizona State defense, like you said, a lot of coverage breakdowns, inexperienced players being part of those breakdowns, but I also thought the lack of pressure on Jake Browning. Maybe Jake Browning wanted to pay me back for the fact that I don't think he's that great of a signal caller. He did throw 3 touchdown passes, but honestly, Jordan, when you have that much time in the pocket on pretty much each and every snap, Arizona State with only 1 sack tonight, Jake Browning could look like Aaron Rodgers out there.
It seemed like his strategy was, I'm just going to wait in the pocket because eventually someone's going to get open. So I just got to wait long enough. And he had the time. No Arizona State rusher rarely got after him. They started to at the end when they were bringing 6 and 7, but they had so many guys in coverage, and it was like, oh, one of them's bound to mess up. And I think that was kind of Washington's philosophy. They did run a lot of zone beaters early on and had a lot of play action that Browning is very good at. And some of the ASU defenders were even saying before this game that Washington's RPO scheme is so good because Browning is so patient with it, and he kind of makes the defense have to shift before he gives the ball. So he is very good at that, but ASU did shift, and Browning was just picking him apart, and that was something that Danny Gonzalez kind of said afterwards that any quarterback could have done. It wasn't just Browning. It was those assignment errors. But, yeah, that's the one thing that I think ASU looks at.
So the good news is that if you're an Arizona State fan and decided to partake in some gambling, the Sun Devils did cover. The line was 18. Arizona State covered by 7. They never really even close to being down 18 points the entire game. Some other good news. You can say there's no gimme games in the Pac-12, but if there is one that the chances are going to be in your favor, it's going to be Oregon State, especially at home. So Arizona State's still looking for that bounce-back game, and I think the Beavers are probably going to provide a good opportunity for that a week from tonight in Sun Devil Stadium. From rainy Seattle and Husky Stadium, for Jordan Kay, I'm Juan Rubino, reporting from DevilsDigest.com.